Hello. We are going to read Chapter 10 of Becoming Naomi Leon by Pam Munoz Ryan. So, before we begin, you know what I'm going to say. Let's take a deep breath in. Let's exhale. And let us begin. Chapter 10, A Schizophrenia of Hawks. That's weird, absolutely weird, said Blanca after I told her about Thanksgiving Day on the way to class Monday morning. Clive sounds scary. Don't you feel sorry for his daughter? I nodded. I'm not going to Las Vegas. Graham said it loud and clear. Did you tell her about the booze in the back seat? No. Well, I didn't know for sure if Skyla was really going to drink it. I mean, maybe it was just for Clive? Graham has enough to worry about right now. And then, what if Graham says something to Skyla and Skyla gets mad at me? Skyla wouldn't have told you to keep your mouth shut if the beer was for Clive. You should tell your Graham, said Blanca. No, I said. Not until I know for sure. I could already hear the caterwaul of Skyla and Graham fighting if Graham found out. Naomi the Lion, said Blanca, shaking her head as we walked into Miss Morimoto's room. You need to wake up before something bad happens. We have a problem, said Graham, rushing into the trailer on Thursday afternoon. I'm going to have to cancel Owen's appointment. Why? Said Skyla, brushing her baby finger with holly berry nail polish. That bride of the big wedding is at Fabiola, said Graham. She tried on the wedding gown and has lost so much weight that we're going to have to work straight through the afternoon to get it altered. The wedding is this weekend, and it's out of town. She's coming back first thing in the morning to pick up the gown. I can take Owen, said Skyla, waving her hands to dry her nails. Graham's forehead wrinkled. Now don't look so worried. Or it won't be like it used to be, not trusting me over every little thing. I'll even pick up chicken in a bucket for dinner. We can handle it, can't we, Naomi? For the past week, Skyla has been smooth and nice as cream pie. She hadn't once mentioned Las Vegas again. Maybe if she helped Graham today, it would just mend about everything that happened between them. I'll take notes for you just like always, I said to Graham, holding up my notebook, and I'll call you the minute we get home. Graham hesitated and bit her lip. Well, it would be a big help. Otherwise, we'd have to wait forever for another appointment, and it's just his usual x-ray and consultation. For heaven's sake, said Skyla, it's only to the children's hospital and back. Now, it's all decided, besides I am his mother. Owen and I knew the children's hospital by heart and could give directions to anyone for surgery, pediatrics, physical therapy, orthopedics, and the lab. I had sat in just about every waiting room and visited all the public restrooms. We'd spent so much time here over the years that Graham said that they should name a table for us in the cafeteria. At every nurse's station we passed, someone said hello to us, or came out to slap hands with Owen, or to give me a hug, or to ask about Graham. While Owen was in radiology getting his x-rays, Skyla and I waited in the hall in the plastic chairs. Wide-eyed, she'd watched each doctor and nurse walk by. When an orderly patient came down the hall in a bed on wheels, Skyla shuddered. Hospitals give me the creeps. Why? I asked. Lots of people get better in hospitals. Yeah, well, lots of people don't, she snapped. She got up and paced. Naomi, when are you going to start talking so I can hear you? I am tired of straining my ears. Hand me my purse and tell me in a regular voice where I can find the restroom. Raising my voice a hair, I said, It's down the hall to the right. She jerked her purse out of my hand and marched off. When she finally came back 20 minutes later, she had double-dosed herself with gardenia perfume. Layered underneath was something even stronger. It reminded me of Graham's Christmas rum cake. I coughed and choked on all the sweetness. What's that smell? Naomi, it's just a little something to calm me down, to get me through all this. She looked around the hospital hallway. Mind your own business, like I told you before. Do you hear me? I nodded, looking at my shoes. She was drinking again. But no matter what she said, the alcohol wasn't relaxing her because her hands shook and she could not stand still. After the x-rays, the three of us waited in one room of the fancy consult rooms with the nice furniture. Graham called them friendly rooms. She said that if the doctors gave you bad news, they wanted you in a comfy, friendly atmosphere, not a scary one. Skyla sat down and tapped her nails on the table. The room had a window looking into a small playroom. The doctors would ask Owen to go when they were ready to report the grown-up stuff. They always let me stay, since I was Graham's secretary. How much longer? Said Skyla. A few minutes, said Owen. Good, then I have time to scoot out to the restroom. When she came back, the perfume was taking a back seat to the rum cake. 2 doctors arrived, wearing smocks and holding file folders. Little koala bears hugged their stethoscopes, and one wore a tie with bright balloons all over it. Owen jumped up and hugged them. They were part of his special team. After they let go of Owen, Dr. Reed turned to us. Hello, Naomi, and you must be Owen's mother. She looked at his folder. Skyla Jones. Mrs. Outlaw called and said you'd be bringing him by today. I am Dr. Amanda Reed, and this is my colleague, Dr. John Navarro. I'm an orthopedic, and Dr. Navarro is an ENT. We both specialize in pediatrics. Owen leaned toward Skyla and whispered, She's a bone doctor, and he's an ear, nose, and throat guy, and they take care of kids. Skyla glared at him. I know what they are, Owen. And her voice sounded pinched. She tapped a little harder on the table, and one of her press-on nails flew across the room and landed on the floor. Owen laughed hard, and the doctors chuckled along with him. When Owen saw Skyla stare, he immediately stopped. I tried to cover my smile with my hands. Skyla's face was as hot as her nail polish. What can you do about Owen? She said, examining her fingers. Skyla didn't know the order of things. First, we'd like Owen to be excused. Why don't you go to the playroom for a few minutes while we talk? Said Dr. Reed. After Owen hopped up and went into the adjoining room, Dr. Navarro turned to Skyla. At this juncture, there is nothing more to do. He's had all the surgeries that his age and size can accommodate. There's a surgery we would like to do when he reaches adolescence, and when he's 13 or 14. But for now, we've reviewed all his tests, and we've determined that he's in great shape. He's going to be an FLK. A what? Said Skyla. A funny-looking kid, said the doctor. Is that some medical term? Are you trying to make a joke? No, said Dr. Navarro. I am most certainly not making fun of him, and sometimes it's a term we use unofficially. He's fine mentally. In fact, he has a rather high IQ, and he is quite bright. He just has a few physical problems that were a result of his birth defects. But there's nothing more we can do surgically. For now, he's just going to be an FLK, a funny-looking kid, said Skyla, her voice rising, scary and shrill. As if I don't have enough problems. This is embarrassing. Dr. Reed wrinkled her forehead. He's healthy and has a wonderful outlook on life. He has great prospects, great potential, and with a few more surgeries when he gets older. I didn't think Owen would mind being a funny-looking kid for a few more years. We had both spent enough time at Children's Hospital to know that his ailments were slight compared to some others. If Graham were here, she would have said it was our lucky day. Skyla pressed her lips together. She leaned toward the doctors and said, "The kid's a blem. He's crooked, and he can't talk right, and you're telling me there's nothing more that can be done to make him right? Well, that's no bargain in my book." I couldn't believe Skyla was comparing Owen to Walker Gordon's once-yearly sale of discount shoes called Blems, the ones with flaws. Dr. Navarro searched in his pocket, pulled out a business card and stood up and handed it to Skyla. "Miss Jones, please call me if you have any questions. I'd be happy to talk to you in length. I can also recommend a support group if you like. We know Owen rather well, and he's a remarkable young man. My number's on the card." Skyla looked at the card and tossed it back on the table. Then she stood up, walked over to the playroom, and jerked it open. "Owen, come on. We're getting out of here." Owen walked into the conference room, smiling, until he saw all the concerned looks around him. I got up and took his hand. "Everything's okay, Owen?" "Naomi," yelled Skyla, "everything is not okay." As we left the room, I saw Owen eyeing the tape dispenser on the shelf near the door. Skyla kept her eyes straight on the road and barely moved all the way home, except for her swigs from one of the plastic travel bottles that she kept pulling out of her purse. Even though it was dark, she drove too fast, weaving the car in and out of traffic. Owen pulled himself so far into his hooded sweatshirt he looked like a swaddled cocoon. When we finally arrived at Baby Beluga, I was dizzy and my hands trembled. As soon as I got inside, I hurried to call Graham. Skyla said, "Put down the phone, Naomi. Sit down, both of you." We sat. "Don't you ever laugh at me or humiliate me like that again. And Naomi, don't give me that 'I don't know what you're talking about' stare, because you know exactly what I mean. Owen, I guess there's not much to be done with you, but you're going to stop this tape thing starting right now, and if you don't, that bike is going in the trash." "Graham always lets me have the tape," said Owen, his voice hoarse. "I can wear it if I want." "Let it be, Owen. Please let it be," I prayed. "I'm your mother, Owen, and if I say it's going to stop, it's going to stop." Skyla took a step toward Owen. I was shaking. I was a shaking leaf. But my instincts moved my body right between Owen and Skyla. I said, "It doesn't hurt anything." Skyla stared at me with fire and hammers. The phone rang and she answered it, never taking her eyes from me. "Hi, baby," said Skyla. Saturday, that's great. I'll start packing up right now and I'll be over later. I'm not staying in this hole one more minute. Don't worry, she'll come along just like we planned. No, I don't care what you say. I'm not bringing him. Not after the date I've had. I never could handle that situation, and I still can't. I'll tell you about it later." Skyla hung up and headed straight for the cupboard under the kitchen sink and pulled out a plastic garbage bag. She walked around the living room, kitchen, picking up her things and tossing them inside the bag. Then she headed to the bedroom. From the back of the trailer, she yelled, "I can't find the rose tulip. Where's my rose tulip lipstick? Naomi, you haven't been using it, have you?" Skyla hurried down the hall towards us, dragging the bag. Clive's job came through in Las Vegas, finally. We're leaving. Naomi, toss me some things in this bag. Bring the jeans I bought you and the sparkly shirts. Leaving? I wasn't leaving. I shook my head. Don't tell me no. I've had it with your attitude, and you're only saying 2 words and speaking in whisper nonsense. Where did I put that lipstick? Skyla began poking around the bookshelf above the sink. When she turned and saw I wasn't moving, she yelled, "Get your things right now!" and swept her hand across the shelf. The 3 little soap ducks fell on the floor, their heads breaking off and rolling around like tops. I looked down at the broken pieces. You can't tell us what to do, I said. Where were my words coming from? Skyla bristled. I can tell you to do anything I like. I'm your mother. I can see that Graham obviously doesn't know how to raise children. Just look at you with your smart mouth. A mean, stomp my foot feeling rose from a place I didn't know existed in my mind. I wished I could throw my anger at Skyla and yell, but my voice came out shaky, like a shaky, shaky whisper. Graham takes care of us. She does everything for us. Not like you. You left us. You didn't want us. And then you didn't even let us see our father. Now we're supposed to do what you say? I'm not going. Skyla took 2 steps across the room, then slapped me across the cheek. It was such a hard slap that my head turned and snapped against my shoulder. I didn't have to look in a mirror to know that the sting of her hand was perfectly imprinted. I felt it from the inside out. Angry, burning tears stung my eyes. I wanted to wipe them away, but now my hands were paralyzed and my feet were rooted to the floor. Skyla raised her hand again. Leave her alone, yelled Owen, running over and throwing his arms around my waist. Skyla dropped her hand. Spooky, calm words came from her mouth. There's more where that came from, Naomi. I can see that I'm going to need to spend a lot of time teaching you how to mind. And don't give me those puppy dog eyes like you're scared of me. I always hated it when you did that. I can't believe you haven't changed one little bit since you were little. Always defying me then and still defying me now. You know, if anything happens to Graham, all you'll have is me anyway. And something could happen to her any time now, as old as she is. You wouldn't want that, would you, Naomi? Something bad happening to Graham on account of you? My knees went gelatin wobbly. What was Skyla saying? That she would hurt Graham? That she might kill Graham? I was still trying to grasp it all when her voice switched to sugar. Now, Naomi, honey, you know I didn't mean that little slap, so don't hold it against me. You are just like me, remember, 2 peas in a pod. It will be fun. You can go to school in Las Vegas. Clive has Sapphire now, so you'll have a friend that's like a little sister. It's been all arranged and decided. We're picking her up on the way. Owen's going to stay here and take care of Graham, so you see everyone will be happy. I started inching toward the door. Skyla swooped in like a hawk, diving for a morsel of meat and grabbed my arm, digging her nails into my skin. I flinched. Skyla was wrong. I wasn't just like her. We were not 2 peas in a pod. I stood as still as I could so she'd relax her grip. Okay. I think I saw the rose tulip in the bathroom cabinet. Well, that's better, she said all perky. She let go and headed down the hall. I quietly took Owen's hand and pulled him back toward the door. Then I pushed it open and we flew down the steps. Run, Owen, run fast, I said, tugging him along beside me into the murky grove. We were halfway through the trees when we heard Skyla's voice. I know you can hear me, Naomi. You're going with me one way or the other. Wow, that was the end of chapter 10. I'll see you again soon for chapter 11.